My video for June the 11th, 2019 is video number 3113. The title is Our Corrupt Political Establishment. Once again, I use quotes from Information Clearinghouse. Quote, fascism should more properly be called corporatism because it is the merger of state and corporate power. Who said that? Benito Mussolini. Another quote, I wouldn't call it fascism exactly, but a political system nominally controlled by an irresponsible, dumbed down electorate who are manipulated by dishonest, cynical, controlled mass media that dispense the propaganda of a corrupt political establishment can hardly be described as democracy either, end quote. And that's by Edward Zehr, C-E-H-R. Another quote, we are discreet sheep. We wait to see how the drove is going and then go with the drove. Mark Twain, who was also known as Samuel L. Clemens. That was his real name, actually. Mark Twain was his pen name. And finally, quote, nothing can bring you peace but the triumph of principles, end quote. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I get these emails every day from the Information Clearinghouse, and some of the articles I take time to listen to. I highlight them and read them. Some of them actually have a thing where you can click and it reads it automatically to you. But there's many quotes that I could use. I mean, they always have two or four between 2 and 4 quotes every day on the articles that they send out, and they're thought-provoking. Now, Mussolini, of course, was aligned with Hitler, and he was part of the Axis powers during the Second World War, and he was executed sometime when the war ended. He was a Nazi. You might just as well say. But that is an interesting quotation because indeed, we live in a world even where our nations, most of them are mergers of state and corporate powers. The corporations have taken over the world. And as I've said so many times, a corporation is a dead entity. Corporations have no power or no legitimate, and the word is legitimate, authority to rule as governance. That is not, it is a breach of human rights, and it is a violation of all ethical standards. And if you haven't noticed, people that rise to the top in this corporate structure are most often extremely unethical people. I mean, to the point where they abuse children, even infants, but children of all ages and both sexes. And it's insane the way our leaders behave. Bohemian Grove being an example of one of the places where they gather to have rituals, where they either actually or figuratively execute a little child. Not because the child did anything wrong, but because they derive energy from that. I know, it's sickening, but this is how the elite behave. And fascism, I'm not a fascist. I am a Republican, and that doesn't mean Republican Party, because that has been subverted like the Democratic Party was messed with, and they are neither democracy nor republic. It's insane. The world we live in is insane. And I didn't look it up, but I should have looked up who Edward Zehr, I guess it's Z-E, not Z-O-H-R. I didn't look up who he was. Of course, we've all heard, I would assume, of Ralph Waldo Emerson and Mark Twain. But we do. Humans are not only undereducated, we are purposely dumbed down and kept stupid. As I've said in other videos, and it's been reported, America, the United States, is very low on the testing of people around the world. It's like 17th or something like that. You know, we're supposed to be a leader in progress and everything else, but yet India and China and Russia and many other countries that we have considered our enemies, they have higher grades in their testing than American kids do. Americans have been dumbed down, in case you haven't noticed. I'm not in favor of democracy for a dumbed down population like we have in New York and California and the big cities around the world, which that's what got Hillary Clinton. That's where most of Hillary Clinton's votes came from, which is a very small percentage of the total counties in the United States voted for Hillary. They were just the ones that had the most people in them. Anyway, it's insane. And principles that Ralph Waldo Emerson mentioned, yes, the principle is truth. That's the first most important principle. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And as I keep on saying, and as has been said by others, first it will piss you off, because we have not been told the truth. Humanity has been lied to for eons, and we've been lied to for the purpose of the profit and the benefit of those who are horrible people. I mean, people who, again, abuse children, and often even their own children. I mean, I have seen or heard and read reports of people that wake up that had been abused, and they tell the story of how they were abused by their own parents and allowed to be molested by, gang raped by the elite establishment. I mean, what's wrong with this picture? It's not okay, folks. If you think it's okay, there's something wrong with the way you've been trained and the way you've been educated. It's not a question of even thinking that these people are have any moral standard that they live to. There are no moral standards to these people. Anything goes, and anything goes means we live on an insane planet run by the most insane among us, even though they appear and put forth an image of being high-class citizens. No, our leaders are not high-class citizens. And I'm not in favor of Mussolini, and I wasn't in favor of the Axis powers, yet I do believe they had some things that were right on their side, including Hitler. Is that true? I don't know. I've read alternative media, and that means I've looked at alternative perspectives compared to what we've been told by our mainstream media, which I know is controlled by those who have an agenda to dominate the entire planet. We need an awakening, and we need to end the corrupt political establishment's rule if we're ever going to be a free and prosperous world. Not nation, world. I look for the entire world to be uplifted. Will that happen? I hope so. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.